Merry
Inline
Christmas.
ones. We're back. Been a hot minute, like we already know. But Michaela and I are here to give you the end of the year wrap up 2025, post Merry Christmas, holidays, to get you set for 2026.
It's kind of crazy. It's already 2026.
It went by way too fast. Way too fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, I felt like we were doing this last year, a hot second ago.
Yeah, same. Like, I feel like we just did a New Year's pod.
You know? Yeah, we always out here. But, yes, it's been a busy last quarter of the year. Enlightened ones, as Michaela and I have said, we've been out here in these streets, just adulting, being busy. You haven't heard from us since pre-Vegas, and for good reason. When we got back, Michaela was out.
Yeah.
She got sick, to the travels and all that cutting weight and all that good stuff. Took our homegirl out for a good week. So we'll recap a little bit of Vegas since we really didn't. And then last week, you'll get this the following week. But last week we're coming off of Christmas and holidays and travel. So this is what you get. Kayla and I made an executive decision that we would rather give you an episode post-Christmas and one right before New Year's to wrap up this year. And I think you'll be grateful for that, enlightened ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And our bad for waiting 3 weeks, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, traveling and everything. So we have some fun stuff in store for our last episode for the 2025 year. Again, like Michaela was saying, it's wild. We're here.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year I was like, 2025 is going to be the year. Which, I mean, it was an all right year, but now I'm like, well, it's over now.
Right? It's done. It's done now. But it's been golden. As those who can see me online, I got the Golden Girls rocking for the end of the year. May your Christmas / end of the year be golden like the Golden Girls. But I feel that I'm like, okay, what do we got to do for 2026? But there's been a lot. We reflect what has gone on this year. What do we want to get into? Michaela and I have a great topic of the week, Zen Talk for 2025, going into 2026 for you all. I think you all will appreciate. So our topic of the week, so you can just get ready, sit in your little seats, sit in your little car, lift your little weights, whatever you're doing right now as you're listening to Michaela and I. Get excited because at the end of our episode, well, not the end, but our topic of the week in our Zen Talk is going to focus on breaking the loop and the loop in the gate. You're like,
loop in the gate.
The loop in the gate. 2025 is the year of the snake, and 2026 in the Chinese zodiac. So not right when we get to January 1st. Just a little caveat there. Chinese zodiac usually is like mid-February. So we're still transitioning out of the year of the snake. Mid-February, we're going to be getting into the year of the horse. But us Westerners, we need to prep because I know a lot of y'all subscribe to the New Year's resolutions. I personally, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But no hate. Like I said, no hate. But did we discuss this last time? Do you typically have resolutions, or what was your kind of 2025 focus?
I really don't remember what my focus was at the beginning of the year. But I don't normally have a New Year resolution. I just usually set goals throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
So I usually just set something 3 months from now, I want to be here, be doing this. And then after I get that, then I just do this. I do it over and over again. So I'm constantly kind of setting little new resolutions and setting goals.
I'm here for that. Increments.
Mm-hmm.
You're here. Step whatever works for you all out there. Whatever. It's all good. However that works for you. We're here for it. Like I said, don't necessarily set New Year's resolutions, but shout out Jill. I appreciate Jill's kind of kept me on my toes the last few years because she has had me actually have like choose a word for
Nice.
the
Yeah.
year. Yep. So me choosing the word this 2025 year, my word was metamorphosis.
Oh,
Metamorphosis.
nice. Yeah.
And kind of wild because I didn't even know we're going into the year of the snake. Now, enlightened ones, I want you to be, if you don't follow this, shout out Lauren. We know you're already about that life. Shout out, Emily. Hey, we know she's about that life. And some of our other enlightened ones out there subscribe to what we subscribe to in terms of astrology, Chinese zodiac. And maybe you subscribe to it now because you've been a fan of us. So your natural curiosity has led you down that rabbit hole.
I'm a fan.
You're integrated.
Yeah, well, you teach me stuff every week.
And I learned, like I said, I'm still novice to the game, but it's still a curiosity I have respect for. And it's just kind of wild how things continue to align. Like I said, had no idea about the year of the snake coming up, but I had already picked metamorphosis for my word for 2025.
Yeah.
And
I think at the beginning of the year we talked about like caterpillars with metamorphosis, right?
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Nikki,
So
that is cool. We're ending with the snake now.
It's wild. And and then it's another fun thing because, when we talk about perception, awareness, what do we, and a personal, I know we got reptile lovers out there. I'm not about reptile lovers. So when I think about a snake and shedding, it's not a favorable scene for me. And I'm learning to readjust said perception because that's what it's about. And like I said, once we get to topic of the week, Mark, we're really going to more specifically kind of get into what did that actually mean for us. I know I got some things as I know it'll come to me as we're talking about it. Like what did I metamorphosis into in my 2025? And what does that mean for the year of the horse going into 2026? So my word that I have chosen, because Jill keeps me on it, my word going into 2026 for myself is going to be emergence.
All right, sweet.
Yeah. And again, we'll get into what does this mean? The significance of the horse. Think about what snakes do, what do horses do, etc. So before we even get into all of that, though, Michaela and I got to check in, let you know what we've been up to, how things have been going over the last few weeks, and what we have coming up. And we will then also get into end of the year content, just the end of the year fight news, things to look forward to as we get into January, and moving forward. So check in. You haven't heard from us since pre-Vegas. Now we're all caloried up, carbed up.
Yep.
Since the last time you met with us. But yeah, I mean, Vegas, Michaela, how are you feeling after getting past your illness, after you're reflecting on your performance in Vegas and how all that went? Where you at?
Yeah, right now I'm just kind of chilling. Right now I'm just like, all right, what's next? But I'm good now. I got hit hard with the flu the day after we got back, and that really took me out for 7 days, which is kind of crazy. And we were cutting weight leading into Vegas, but then after I got the flu, I dropped to 155. I got small, but now I'm back
up, filled out, hydrated. Yeah, so we're glad that you're back healthy. I know that was a rough week
yeah.
for you. And all. Myself, Matt, Michaela, Nikki, we were the Ground Theory reps in Vegas this year. And myself, Michaela, and Matt were all having to watch the calories
Mm.
And so I know we were not very fun for at least a couple weeks. I was just mad about it 2 weeks out. I was tired of eating chicken. I was tired of eating protein shakes and protein bars. I just wanted, because there wasn't the option, I just wanted to eat it because it wasn't the option.
Mm. Just mad.
Yeah, you know? Um, but I know that, like, again, like Michaela's cut was a little little harsher than Matt and I's that we had to do. So the sickness was trying to get me when I came
Hmm.
back, but we held out.
Yeah, because you're taking your vitamins. Like I've been slacking. That's probably why it hit me.
We didn't take your vitamins. That's right. Your immune system
Hmm.
was down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, recap in case some of y'all know, most of y'all know, because obviously you've seen us and or you follow us or whatever. So the crew did pretty, we did well, except it's always a win when you get on the mat. A competition, no world or no gi worlds. It's like a fairly like decent sized event. It's a little smaller than gi worlds and masters worlds, obviously, because there's not as many events going on. But I think like just gi masters and gi worlds tends to just like bring more bodies in general. Plus it's the end of the
Hmm.
year,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it wasn't as big, but still a decent turnout. So like I know like Michaela, how many did you get? 14?
Yeah, I had 14. That was the biggest bracket I've been in so far.
Yeah, so Michaela ended at 14. I think Matt had similar, or maybe it was a little more.
Yeah, I think Matt had 16 or 18. He was up there a little bit.
Yeah, he had about the same, and Nikki had 3, I think.
She had 3 matches, but I think she only had one girl in her division, and then she
Okay,
did absolute. And then I
right.
think there was like, wasn't, I don't know if there was 3 or 4 in absolute, but she had 3 total
I,
matches.
yeah, I think that's what it was. And me, I'm like, oh, great. It was just a one and done for me. It is what
Hmm.
it is. Just works out that way. I ended up going down to Masters 1, like we talked. Nobody was in my age bracket, so that was cool. So I only had one match. Michaela ended up getting third. You had
Hmm.
one win, one loss. We'll talk about about the loss. Like I said, jiu-jitsu is an interesting sport where you mix the pros in with the hobbyists, and then hobbyist pros kind of like situation. So
Hmm.
Michaela ran into a little beast in her second match, but I think it still went well despite the
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah.
And then I had my one match, got the win, which was great. Happy about that. Talk about, a little bit of it was kind of weird. Like it's a little bit bittersweet because, you only get one match. I'm not trying to do absolute because I got to go to work on Monday, not trying to get under a big person. And at the same time, um, goal has always been to get a gold at a world's competition. So it would be nice to get, maybe have one or two more matches after, to like work towards the goal, like maybe 2 or 3, but it doesn't diminish the progress and the work that had to go into it. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of like, dang, like achieved a goal and I only got one match,
Yeah.
but I had to look at it in its totality to like actually appreciate it. So that
Hmm.
was cool.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Like I only had 2 matches, and I'm like, oh, I only competed for like 6 minutes. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's nothing, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm just trying to look at the bigger picture too. Like I had the weight cut and everything leading up to it. Like everything went well, and like I feel alright about it. I just wish I would have had a couple more matches
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
without going absolute because I'm not trying to get wrecked either.
Exactly. Like again, it takes a lot out of the body. And like we've talked about in previous pods before, and sometimes it is hard, to appreciate it because the work that you put in, you really want to showcase it or have a different outcome. But at the same time, like that is the celebration. I've been listening
Hmm.
to my audiobooks, just got done listening to if you all have Spotify out there, if you like audiobooks, I highly recommend Become Who You Are by Alan Watts. Great book. Slash, I'm in the middle of Bruce Lee's Striking Thoughts book. Excellent.
Nice.
Love Bruce Lee, right? And his philosophy. But they both talk about the same thing of being present, and it's mostly about celebrating the process and not necessarily the outcome. The outcome's great. I get more matches, I get the win, or disappointed with the loss, whatever that might be. It's not that that's not valid or important, but like you said, you can't ignore like the totality of the process. And I think that kind of like for me makes it worth it, because like you said, it's like the discipline and the sacrifice that we had to put in. You know, having one plate at Thanksgiving, tragic.
Yeah. Oh, I had a tiny plate at Thanksgiving.
Half a spoonful, like everything, you know. Skipping out on when I did want cookies or ice cream just cuz, and just not having it. Maybe some of those days leading up to it, you didn't want to get in the gym, or you didn't want to roll, right, or stand up, but forcing yourself to and still putting in the work. So myself, you, Nikki, Matt, we all did that. We put the work in, so that's the win. You know, have to really look at it, but sometimes it's hard because, you know, you think it's like, it's not fun hurting and training necessarily. Like it is, but it isn't. You know, you're not sitting there like under Sensei Matt getting smashed when he's feeling great and on his like third energy drink and he's feeling zapped up. Like you're not feeling good when you're getting smashed by that, but it is the feel good of the appreciation that I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like the feel good from the discipline.
Exactly. So yeah, that was what happened in Vegas, everybody. So I felt like, yeah, ground theory, we repped, we did our thing. I think everybody in a way, in some way, at least showcased what you had been kind of like working on, or at least drilling or training leading up to that. At least you like at least tried it, you saw it or something. I think that's a win. So like I said, Michaela, she beast moded in the first match, and you know, things happen. Shout out, I don't know who that lady was, but just kind of a no shade when I say this, like Michaela was on her way to win anyway. Like you're like there was about to be a choke, but in the transition of that, just an unfortunate injury happened to Michaela's opponent. So things just happen.
Yeah, hopefully she's all right, but I did pull her over her own knee and her foot was at a weird angle, and I don't know. Hopefully she's doing all right. Like, never want to take someone out, but happened.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it wasn't malicious. It's just one of those things that happen, and you know, like an injury, but at the same time, like I said, like from seeing it and watching the whole match, it seemed like Michaela was on her way to win outside of the injury. And then it was funny because during Michaela's second match, I had went to the bathroom, and as I was coming back, you know, you see a little jiu-jitsu and UFC famous people, and I was like, oh shit, there's Frank Mir. Old UFC dude, legend, follow UFC for a long time. So I was like, that's cool to see this guy. So as I'm like going on Michaela's mat, it doesn't even register to me that the ladies going on her mat are the ladies that Michaela's probably going to go against. So I was just like, yeah, oh, there's Bella Mir.
I didn't know either. Like, I was watching them too, but for some reason I thought they looked bigger than me, so I thought they were a different weight division. But I didn't realize all those girls were in my bracket too.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh yeah, and then we were like talking, I was like, oh yeah, you know, Bella Mir's on your mat, and Michaela was like, oh, that's cool, you know, and then it still didn't register to you or to me at that point until Heidi had messaged in the group, this is Bella Mir, Michaela's next opponent. She's a wrestler. Don't do X. I was like, oh shit, that's who Michaela's about to go against.
Yeah. Well, Matt told me too, and he was like, yeah, Heidi says, watch out, she's a wrestler. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I still didn't know who she was, you know? Like at the time, it didn't register, which is so crazy to me because I watched her match on UFC BJJ 4 on Thursday night, 3 days before our tournament, and I still didn't even recognize her. I had no clue.
Yeah.
I'm just like, she's a little athlete. That's all. Like I was thinking, like, all right, she's
rectangular built athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of wild. Looking back, it's wild, but I think it's just crazy. I had no clue.
I know it was funny, but I felt like you did well. Michaela shot in a guillotine off the bat when she shot in that Bella had to address.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I mean, she just kind of worked on transitioning
Yeah.
and that was that. So, and then she went on to win. So she ended up winning your division, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she won the whole thing.
Yep. Did
Yeah,
she do absolute?
I don't know. I didn't see anything about her doing absolute, so I don't know if she did or not.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean that was that. So like I said, it's just interesting being in the world of jiu-jitsu. Wasn't my experience, but Michaela's age division, you being in the adult division. Well, I mean, even now though, like now we're just kind of transitioning because we got Theon and Masters 1. So
Mm-hmm.
really it's just kind of the age of like you could go up against a pro and not just be an adult, but more so as an adult, you're going to be encountering more of these up and comer, little young adult teenage phenoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you know how old Bellamere is?
I think she
I
has to be like early 20s, like mid 20s,
mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is neat, just to kind of see that stuff. And, like you said, just kind of be in the presence of that, being able to compete with people like that, and also being like, I got to go to work on Monday. But
Mm-hmm.
you do get a lot of experience. Like I said, anytime you compete, you take away things from it. This is what I need to continue working on. I didn't realize this was maybe a thing I need to address, and so on. So everybody showed up, did what they did, and like I said, it's on to the next one. I think, yeah, I don't even know what the first of any kind of competitions are going to be in January or whatever, but going into and shedding and things, I know Michaela and we talked about, and I had a little slow burn for Michaela,
Yeah, you did.
coming from Vegas, because I know Mel was like, we already know this, but you gotta hit
Mm-hmm.
Michaela in a slow burn, and then that's gonna be your like drive, because the slow burn is going to get at you. And so we talked about guard work, and Michaela got to force herself to sharpen up, get a guard, and start
Mm-hmm.
working on that. And I think that's, as far as the jiu-jitsu game goes, that's part of like your shed.
Yeah. No,
It's like a
you're
forced
right.
shed for you.
It is forced because beforehand I was putting it off. I'm like, oh, I'll eventually like put the work in, like when the time comes, I'll put the work in, and well, the time has come, and I'm like, all right, I need to put the work in now. Like I need to figure
Mm-hmm.
myself out and get better and level up everywhere. So I'm like, my guard game, like I got stuck.
Yeah. It's hard. It's like, well, I mean, I've been stuck. I got a guard game. I've been stuck, right? And it's like one
hmm
thing. If to get stuck because somebody shuts it down is one thing, but to get stuck and I don't have anything is just another thing.
Yeah.
And so for you, that's part of your shed. You're going to be moving year of the horse and developing that guard. And then whatever that, like I said, whatever your internal work was. I know, like for me, I think I'm still trying to, maybe part of my jujitsu shed as we kind of get into it, is not necessarily being so resistant, not takedowns or stand up, but being a little more flowy with like my stand up, or just like what comes to me, not necessarily being a counter puncher and not necessarily flowing and just kind of like letting things happen, but trying to be a little less, I guess, for me to be a little more offensive required me to be a little less rigid in ways that I didn't realize I was being in certain positions. I know what
hmm
that means for myself, my jiu-jitsu game, but that was part of my year, my shed. And then it's like I've been talking about on earlier pods recently, like part of my internal shed too is getting out of some loops. I finally need to address some things, and my awareness is like, okay, we can't keep doing the same thing. We know certain things, so we got to deviate, start addressing some old stuff, get out of my own way, and move.
Yeah.
So that's where I've been at this year.
Yeah,
So
break the
we're
cycle.
breaking the cycle. Your girl, like I said, we're in it with Miss Heather T. Shout out my therapist.
Heather
You know,
T.
Heather T out here. Whatever that means for you, you know, whether you need to go get yourself into therapy, maybe you need to get yourself back into therapy, maybe you need to revisit your jujitsu game, maybe your jujitsu game is where it's at because you need to get yourself into therapy or resume therapy. I don't know. But as we say, everything is connected, and we will put little pockets and nuggets without spoiling what that also means in Stranger Things. If you are a
Yeah.
Stranger Things fan, right? We're in the tail end, almost like to the very finale of the whole season or the whole show. And if you are a fan, again, without us spoiling it, part of the premise and part of the core is everything is connected in a way, right? We got our light upside down world. You can't do this over here without it impacting it over there. So, as I said, think about everything being connected holistically. What do I need to address? Where are my blind spots? What do I need to shed? What is painful that I'm so reluctant to hold on to, but is no longer serving me, and where those changes need to be made come January.
I think I gotta put some thinking into all
Yeah,
that.
you gotta think on it. So, enlightened ones, what does that mean? You're like, okay, like y'all keep talking about it, but you're not really being too specific. I get it. So, what does this mean according to our HinduTimes.com? Because you already know we got astrology ready. We got it ready for y'all. So, on the Hindu Times, as the year of the snake ends, the year of the horse begins. The Chinese zodiac transition and what this means for you. As 2025 ends, the lunar calendar is preparing for major energy shift. The year of the snake is giving way to fast-paced year of the horse. As 2025 comes to an end, astrologers are preparing for one of the most dynamic transitions in the lunar calendar. The year of the snake is giving way to the fast-paced year of the horse. If this year has felt especially tough, filled with unexpected challenges and moments of uncertainty, the year of the horse might just be, gotta refresh. There we go.
Oh no.
The year of the horse might just be your chance to reclaim the narrative. A look back at the year of the snake. According to Hindu Times, so the year of the snake, which ruled 2025, was a time marked by wisdom, patience, and internal growth. In the lunar zodiac, the snake is a symbol of intelligence, transformation, and intuition, a creature that sheds its skin to renew itself. This period often manifests as a period of reflection and recalibration. People may have felt drawn to simplify their routines, clear out physical and emotional clutter, and reassess what truly matters. Relationships, work commitments, and personal boundaries likely came under quiet but meaningful review. Snake years tend to bring a slower pace and a focus on clarity rather than action. But it's not about stagnation, but about deliberate progress, the kind that happens beneath the surface before visible change begins. So, if you think about yourself and where you're at so far, remember what happened earlier this year.
What?
The knee, your knee.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Roxy's been distracting me.
What's up, Roxy?
Yeah. No, this year was a long year of just like off and on, like go and then slow down, and then go and then slow down. So I hope
Mm-hmm.
next year's different.
Yeah. Well, and you had a lot of you had a lot of travel too. You've
hmm
never been to New York.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
there
that was
somewhere
fun.
else you haven't gone or you haven't been where you went to?
I think Chicago was a first. New
Mm-hmm.
York, or like I've never been in Chicago. I think that might be it. Either way, like I did do a lot of traveling this year.
Yeah.
It was fun. A lot of
So
new things.
um, shedding, coming to your own, having new experiences,
Hmm.
um, shedding stereotypes. Like I said, when you went to New York, you had a certain stereotype and perception of what you thought New York was going to be like, and it wasn't that.
Yeah, I like New York.
Artwork, shedding different, you have that awareness of, damn, I'm a blue belt in the art world.
Hmm.
Shedding that, what's been contributing to that?
Yeah. Yeah, dang, I have been doing a lot of shedding. I just haven't been like keeping track of all the shedding.
See, it's like bow, 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 bow. It's been happening.
Hmm.
So think about it. I'm trying to sit with myself a little more. Being aware when I'm boiling up.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm like, what is this energy I'm feeling? Is this meant for this present space right now? Right. I'm working on it. I know y'all are like, but Deja, you're always happy. Yes and no. I get overstimulated and I get irritated.
Hmm.
And I'm stubborn. And sometimes that brings rigidity. And at times not wanting to admit that maybe I'm wrong. But I'm out here learning.
Yeah, that happens.
It does. It does. It does. It is what it is. And so we're here. So yes, again, Michaela and I have been growing, doing our things, having an experience. I've even in jujitsu, like I felt like this year, the few times that I've competed this year, even going into those, I think my energy and going into those has been different. I've kind of shed in the way that I like, kind of mentally and emotionally, and also like I've been the same physical. I've just been a little more locked in physically preparing, but like mentally and emotionally preparing, going into competitions. I still had my anxiety, still had my stress. Like, what the hell am I doing this for? Why? This is
Hmm.
annoying. And I've also been more in tune again with my energy and not letting that overstimulate and getting the anxiety getting the best of me, but kind of like working in that, and again trying to create more internal flow. So that's been kind of
Nice.
my like shift a little bit
Yeah.
that I've definitely noticed
Yeah, that's
for
awesome.
myself.
Yeah, I've noticed a
Mm-hmm.
little shift too, like with me competing, because I don't get as nervous anymore. Like I almost just like don't even get nervous now, which is kind of crazy. But like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also not really afraid of getting hurt, getting injured again. Like it's still on my mind, but like it bothered me a lot more earlier in the year, like right after I hurt
Mm-hmm.
my knee and stuff. So I kind of worked past that through the past couple tournaments. So it's a good feeling. Like going
Yep,
in and being like, all right, I can compete and not get hurt.
that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent mindset, right, to
Yep.
have. So again, as we're going through this, peeps, think about, reflect on your own. Put us on pause for a second if you got some time, and maybe take some time and reflect on your own. Bring out a notepad, bring out your phone. What have I, like this year, like I said, this year you snap, bow, it's gone. And if we keep doing that, the time, you never get that time back. So you really do need to kind of sit down and have pause. Preferably you don't just do it at the end of every year. And, like that's why I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, but you're continuously trying to do this. And the end of the year is also a great time just to kind of, again, check in on maybe the check-ins that you've been doing throughout the year and what has that looked like for you. So as we get into, so the year of the snake, we will not experience another year of the snake until 2037.
Dang.
So bye bye year of the snake until 2037. Now, like I said, we will say bye bye officially as Chinese zodiac, as their time goes, mid-February. So we're still lingering around for the next month and a half, 2 months, and the year of the horse will be entering in. So the energetic rise of the horse. Think about it, plant some seeds. What did I like we just talked, this is what I shed this year. So what is that energy going to lead you going into for the following? Like, so we'll talk more about this as far as like the breaking of the loop for topic and Zen, but what does the actual energy of the horse signify before we even get into that? So with 2026 ushering in the year of the horse, the mood of the zodiac shifts dramatically. The horse represents energy, independence, and forward momentum. It's a sign known for confidence, ambition, and love for freedom. Where the snake's lesson centered on patience and insight, the horse thrives on motion and expression. It encourages people to act on long gestating ideas, start new projects, and take bold leaps without overthinking every detail. Astrologers say the year ahead will likely inspire decisive movement, whether in careers, relationships, or creative pursuits. It's a time for risk-taking, reconnection, and courage as people feel an urge to step into the spotlight after a year of quiet preparation. In practical terms, 2026 can feel faster and more social, with opportunities unfolding more quickly. Horse years are known for their dynamic and drive, an outward-facing energy that rewards initiative and action. Past horse years have often been linked with breakthrough moments and collective shifts toward progress. Ooh,
Yeah, that sounds nice.
yeah. So we're here. I'm here for it. Okay, the close of one cycle and the start of another. Readers must also note that this transition marks the end of a 9-year cycle in the lunar zodiac, a symbolic point of completion and renewal. After a year of shedding and introspection, the cosmos now invites motion, growth, and alignment. If 2025 was about understanding who we are, 2026 is about becoming who we're meant to be. The year is expected to bring clarity, confidence, and a renewed sense of direction, a time when delayed opportunities finally begin to take form. As we move from the introspective snake to the free-spirited horse, the message is simple. Shed what no longer serves, embrace movement, and let the momentum guide you into your next chapter.
Nice.
No,
I like
right.
that.
Oh, we here for it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah, at first when I heard Year of the Horse, I was like, all right, what does that mean? You know? Like, yeehaw, here we go.
The horse girl coming in 2026. But we like the year of the horse.
Yeah.
Movement. Think about it. It's not about, so if we're shedding and we've planted seeds, now I think we've talked about this before in the way you kind of think about it. Think about the seasons, nature, we're connected. Fall, leaves are starting to die, things are starting to fall. Winter, right? It freezes over, but we've planted the seeds for things to blossom in the spring. Whatever you've planted, whatever you've fostered in that and maintain, you're going to become who you already are. Just like I said, you're going to become who you're meant to be. So if you're continuously staying in a certain cycle, a certain loop, and again, you do this, the blame and external versus looking on the inside, figuring out what kind of energy do I need to do. Some like growing and growth is painful. That's why they call it growing pains. It's not supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be super, super exciting with ultimate clarity. There's fear there. There's uncertainty. You don't know what you're getting into. And it's time to deviate from the same trail that you've been taking. Now you can keep taking the same trail and keep doing the same things that you've been doing. And that means your horse is going to continue moving in what you've always meant to be. I don't know what that means for you. I'm not saying any shade. I'm just saying if you're feeling some type of way, you're feeling negative, maybe it's time you look at some things and say, this time for me to change and make some movement elsewhere.
Yeah. Your horse can't just keep walking circles. Gotta get off the trail.
That's right. Gotta figure something else out. Okay. So we will talk about more about that, breaking the loop, and the loop and the gate, right? There's a vent, like we've been doing this loop. There's a gate somewhere. There's more gates to be open. So
Ooh, it's like a Super Mario Bros. Game. Got secret doors everywhere.
That's right. Yeah, depend on at what point in time do these doors become into my awareness when I'm ready to see, right? So before we get into all of that, let's get into our end of the year content, wrap up things. We haven't had a lot of fight news happening as far as like fights since we've last seen you. I think the last fight that we have, like we'll briefly talk about that. I was my brother was like, "You're triggered." I was like, "I was triggered." But we'll talk about that. Anthony Joshua win, Jake Paul lost, because technically I think that was kind of like the end of the year fighting. But like the boxing stuff was the Misfits fighting with Tony Ferguson out here looking good for Tony Ferguson, right, in boxing. And then you had the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. But outside of that, I think the last time we talked, like that was the last pay-per-view of UFC.
Mm-hmm.
With
Yeah,
Peter
really.
Yan and Marab.
Yeah, there hasn't been much since then.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, I mean, did you watch the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua boxing stuff?
Yeah, I watched the last round, the knockout round.
The breaking the jaw last round.
Yeah. I fell asleep and I woke up to that. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
One round.
You know, I don't know if this is if this is a thing, but maybe we'll see. Or maybe it's just the shedding and this is where we're moving towards, because I've been seeing it for the last few years about Saudi Arabia. America is no longer number one in sports in general. Like Saudi Arabia is coming in hot, y'all, and they've been coming in, and Americans are not going to be the number one demographic out here. So just strap in. It is what it is. We're now starting to see more of that. I saw the marketing of Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. I saw like the Saudi like stuff. Again, no shade. It's just, again, it's like it's shifting. And same ways I think shed, and I don't know if we don't know which way it's gonna go. But my brother was laughing at me because like during the fight, and then after he got his jaw broke, or during the fight, I was just pissed. One, I didn't really want to watch it, but I was like, what the hell are we watching? Mm-hmm. It was just like he kept falling. One, I'm just like, Jake Paul shouldn't even be in the ring with somebody the caliber of an Anthony Joshua, Olympic boxer, heavyweight champion, decorated, has been against some of the GOATs, or not, like some of the heavyweight phenoms, and now you fighting Jake Paul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of a joke.
Exactly, and then the fight started out as a joke. Jake Paul was just running around. His strategy definitely looked like just run, survive, clinch as long as you can. Exactly, take down. Like what are we doing? And I don't know. I don't know if Joshua is kind of like maybe like, I don't know, carrying the fight to try to get it to a certain round, obviously for like audience sake, and maybe not. He just couldn't find Jake, but once he was ready to hit the kill switch, it was over. Mm-hmm. But the thing, I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, no, does nobody else see this? There's select collective that does see this, and I was so mad about it because I was like, this is such a disservice to professional sports. Not just professional boxing, but the world of professional sports. I'm not saying Jake Paul hasn't put in the work or anything like that, but now we have gotten into the AI, right? What's real, and entertainment versus, like, the entertainment is the professionalism and the athleticism and the greatness that are professional athletes. It's not a joke, right? And so I just kind of felt like Jake Paul did the same thing. We joked about and laughed, but that's the problem with the breakdancing lady of Australia. You'll never see breakdance in the Olympics again. One, I think majorly because that individual who decided to, whether she was real or whatever, made a mockery of breakdancing in the Olympics. And those athletes that have spent their entire lives dedicated to their craft, nobody knows a name of a world, right? Of any of the, but we know Rhaegar, whoever the hell it was.
Rhaegun. Yeah.
Rhaegun. And I was like, wow, that's what we're watching with the Jake Paul stuff. And I grew up, my era, I was in 6th grade when the first episode of Jackass aired. So I grew up during this like Jackass doing stuff for pranks. Ha ha, it's funny. You break a jaw. Ah ha ha, you broke my rib. And literally watching Jake Paul take the punch and then that broke his jaw. I was like, this is for him and all his minions to be like, oh, I broke my jaw for this, you know, and I'm out here competing with a multiple world champion. And it was just like a joke. And I'm just like, so that can either go for shedding of like, we're finally seeing like YouTuber got exposed, but then you see other people being like, I mean, he lasted 6 rounds with heavyweight. So maybe like the shed is like, what we know of professional sports is transitioning out of that and it's becoming more entertainment. I don't know, but it was definitely noticeable.
Yeah. No, I feel like everything's just transitioning into entertainment now. Like, I feel like that's all everyone cares about is being famous, being popular, getting the views, getting the followers.
Get the clicks.
Yeah. It's just everyone, I don't know. It just takes the professionalism out of all the sports.
Yeah, it's tragic. So that's what I was going off about in our group chat. Cause I was just like, I'm seeing this happen. And my brother's a Gen Zer, so he was just like, oh, this is like, he wasn't about it, but he was also like, yeah, this is wild, you know, like kind of invested in it. Like he's a stats dude. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of generation. I'm going to look at numbers and that's going to tell me the story versus what I saw and what I experienced in greatness. That's why you have, like, not taking anything away from LeBron, but that's why you have the debate, who was better, LeBron or Michael Jordan? And it's like, my eye test is going to tell me Michael Jordan was because of what I was seeing and his influence on stuff. But numbers-wise, and also maybe what I saw is going to tell me LeBron. But that was the same thing with Drake and Kendrick. Drake's got all the hits, got the numbers and whatnot. And then that was part of his greatest downfall, why Kendrick beat his ass, because you can't fake influence, as Kendrick said. And, you know, the numbers do lie. The numbers do lie sometimes. And people say the numbers don't lie. They do.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Kendrick started us off this year. Like early.
That was last year.
Oh, that was last year? That wasn't in 2025? Dang.
I know.
No shit, I
but,
thought that
but
was...
he did, but to be fair, I mean, the beef started last year, but at the same time, you are correct, and he did perform at the halftime show in 2025.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, right, it was still ignited, still very much real, and then Drake had his lawsuit this year, so yeah, all that stuff was shedding.
Dang, a lot of shedding.
Yeah, you can't fake stuff, right? We got the AI artists and music now coming out. At first, it sounds good. Remember, I told you when we were on our way to Vegas in August, and we were listening to the AI artists, and I was like, it sounds good. But I was like, if you really listen to it, and you listen to the difference between like an Aretha Franklin, the Temptations, like these actual people versus AI, you can literally hear the lack of soul.
Yeah, the AI music sounds good, like standalone songs, but if you listen to it back to back, it sounds fake. Like you can hear how like it just all sounds really generic and it's not good
At all.
Like there isn't soul. There isn't
Nope.
uniqueness to these songs.
Exactly. So again, fine, be authentic. What's genuine? Things are gonna shed. The fakeness is gonna shed. The mask is gonna shed. Again, call back to a previous pod, Blade and Spider-Man shedding the mask. It's all connected. It's all connected out here. And so that was my gripe. I don't want to see, if we see Jake Paul in a boxing ring again, fight somebody your caliber. Just respect it, bring it up. I think the only person that he did fight and he actually lost to was Tommy Fury. Fight somebody like that. Fight Tommy Fury again. But I don't want to see you in there with a Francis Ngannou, regardless of boxing stature. I don't want to see him in there with the Canelo. Like, I don't want to see any of that shit.
I don't think anybody does.
Crazy.
But hopefully he can't fight again since he broke his jaw in 2 spots.
That wasn't fake, you decided to take that, but you take one bad shot, that could have been a brain situation. It's
Yeah.
all ha ha until something like really bad happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's probably a good thing he punched his jaw rather than his head. Broke his jaw instead of his brain.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So that was that. That was the sitch in that. Um Outside of that, like I said, I wanted to mention, so according, if I go to MMAfighting.com, I didn't even look at the whole list. But the fight of the year, and if I remember correctly, I was like, I do remember that fight. It was a pretty back and forth fight, but Joshua Van and Brandon Royval, UFC 317, won 2025 Fight of the Year.
Dang, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that you have to go back and watch that one. That was definitely a back and forth going at it. So yeah, they won Fight of the Year. As far as some other UFC news, like end of the year news, I'm not sure if we talked last time, but we said like the start of the first Paramount card going into January. So you're not gonna have to watch pay-per-view anymore to see the UFC cards, but that first Paramount card is gonna be is it Volkanovski and Diego Lopez is the first, or is it no, it's Justin Gaethje and Patty.
Yeah, and Patty.
So we got Justin Gaethje and Patty, and then we got Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison, which Patty and Justin, they're fighting for the vacated lightweight. And since we've talked, we have a little more information about what occurred for Ilya to vacate the title at this point. I don't think he's been stripped, and I actually don't know if he's officially vacated, but he did say he's not planning to fight, so I'm not sure what the UFC is planning on doing with that necessarily, but dude's having some family stuff going on, it's a distraction, so he's got to be there. Understandable, be there for his kids and everything. And so it's just kind of weird he's vacating, and then you got Patty and Justin fighting for the title. I'm not sure I agree with that. I feel like Patty is probably going to beat Justin down, and then Patty's going to be the UFC lightweight champ.
Patty. Yeah, that should be a good card though, because Sean O'Malley's fighting Song Yadong, and then we got Eric Lewis on the card. Rose Namajunas is on the card.
Oh, who's Rose fighting?
She's fighting Natalia Silva.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think she was supposed to fight Grasso, and then she backed out.
Well, it should be a good card.
Yeah.
I don't like either of them, but I do think Kayla Harrison beats Amanda.
Really?
I mean, well, here's the thing. The only reason I say that is because I could go either way. The slight edge I give it to Kayla just because Amanda's been out for the last year and a half, 2 years. She's had a baby in between then. How long is it going to take her to get not just in shape, but like fighting shape? I mean, she's still got it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if she still got it in regards to the championship caliber. If Kayla's able to dodge the strikes, and then once she gets grabbed, is Amanda going to be able to get up? Like, her jiu-jitsu's underrated because we didn't need to see it, but I don't know if she's going to be able to get up from Kayla. And then if you want to maybe think, okay, if I give the slight edge to Amanda, we've never seen Kayla actually get hit. So we don't know how she would respond to if she actually gets tagged, how would she respond to that? So.
Yeah. No, I think Amanda's got it.
Yeah? Yeah, it'll be a fun fight, hopefully. Amanda couldn't sit there and let everybody else get their accolades, so she had to come back.
Yeah. Kayla might have some size, but I don't know. I feel like Amanda's just gonna light her up.
Like I said, the reflexes are definitely probably still there. Like my only concern is, like I said, the 1.5, 2 year ring rust. And in
Mm-hmm.
between that time, you've been mom. You've been out here
Chilling.
parenting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much training have you been doing?
I really haven't seen anything from Rhonda in the past couple months.
We have been seeing from Rhonda. Rhonda haters online definitely reposting her getting her ass beat by Holly Holm and Amanda Nunez, and that has been excellent. I will always stop and watch those highlights. No matter how many times I've seen, I was like, yep, I'll click on that. Yeah. No, we don't want to see Ronda Rousey back.
No.
Nobody wants to see her back.
I mean, I kind of do a little bit.
To get beat up? Yep, that's what that would be, to get beat up. Excuse me. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, that end of the UFC era, pay-per-view era. If you don't have Paramount, I'm not going to sit here and advertise it for you, but I'm just telling you that's where the new fight stuff and fight cards are going to be at. Check the pricing, check your subscriptions, and maybe that'll get more casual people, have more fight parties, because people don't have to buy pay-per-views anymore, right? So that might increase some watch parties, which will be kind of fun in the future.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, you can come watch at my house now that we don't have to stream.
That'd be great. Oh, so kind of transitioning out of UFC, and just kind of saw this, I thought, because we're always talking about like the GOAT conversations and what does that mean. Hodger Gracie had came out recently, and who people arguably say is the GOAT, right? And his opinion is, you can't really have a GOAT debate because he's saying you can't compare generations, which I think is absolutely fair.
Mm-mm. Yeah, me too. Yeah, 100%. So every generation has a new GOAT.
Exactly. Like we were talking about the other day when we were talking about MMA GOATs. Now, everybody likes to throw the GOAT out. There's like last 10 years, like, who's this the GOAT? They're the GOAT. I'm like, okay. But y'all are kind of watering it down. But when we look at the different generational GOATs for things, I'm not going to put a Pride, the GOAT during the Pride, Prime, roided areas in the same generation as like post USADA and all that. I'm not necessarily going to dismiss them from the conversation, but it is different. I think like when you talk about a John Jones, right, and an Anderson Silva, when they fought in the UFC and the caliber of opponents they were fighting, I'm going to always put Anderson Silva and John Jones as maybe like MMA GOAT top. And if I'm not going to be biased when we talk about generations, that's why when they're talking about the Tom Aspinall stuff, and I'm like, y'all can shut the hell up talking about GOAT and all that with Tom Aspinall. He hasn't done nothing. And just because you beat somebody, even if he were to fight a John Jones and he would have beat John Jones, and he did, that doesn't take away the generational dominance that John Jones had. In the same way, I feel like Chris Weidman you can't take Anderson Silva's GOAT status away from him, despite like how those last two losses to end kind of like his legacy happened, because it was just kind of transitioning into a new generation. So.
Yeah, when AI lets us compare each fighter in their prime, that's when we'll be able to figure out the real GOAT.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably, they could probably already doing it now,
Yeah.
But on MMA fighting, so to give you a little more insight, like I said, Hodger Gracie, also part of Ground Theory lineage, shout out Subconscious, as part of our lineage, with an often heated argument when it's time to crown Gracie or Gordon Ryan the GOAT, or the ones who preceded them in the early days of jiu-jitsu. Gracie doesn't think the debate is fair. He says that's normal. There will always be comparisons. So as he said, as he's praising Gordon Ryan, but you can't compare generations. The only fair comparison would be if they competed against each other. Without that, it's meaningless. I don't even think it's nice to compare. Every champion used the tools needed to overcome the challenges of their time. Everyone had their own journey, their own battles to win. In the early days, up until my generation or a bit earlier, no one made money with jiu-jitsu. There were no paid competitions. It was all amateur. Fighters had to go into MMA to make a living, but now jiu-jitsu has grown so much that it's actually easier to earn a living through it than through MMA. I was part of the last generation that felt the need to represent the family in the ring. That's why I fought MMA, because I felt the need to represent the family in the ring, just like the Gracies before me. So I think that's right. And like I said, I think you also, again, generational, if I'm looking at age too, even Hodger going against Ryan, even if Ryan were to beat Hodger, I'm not going to put Ryan over Hodger Gracie, again, like age-wise. It's just, even if they competed against each other.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair.
Because Hodger's not his prime, right? It's just like you're past your prime at that point, regardless of how awesome and great he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was saying. If you could take the prime versions of everyone and let them compete against each other, then you could actually find it out. But until then, we won't know.
We won't. But yeah, another way, like, unfortunately, people can water down stuff. You keep talking about the GOAT, to like, we know Amanda Nunes could be the GOAT. Despite, despite my hate on Ronda and the continuous hate that will always be towards Ronda, you can't take away what she did during her specific time. That's what she did during her time and her journey. She had, like, women knew what she was about to do and they still couldn't stop it. And then, ego got the best of her. She, like I said, she got her ass beat twice, and that was what it was. Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, the next MMA generation. And we could say Amanda, women's GOAT, and for me, it's Valentina. They're in the same generation, right? That's what I would compare. Amanda Nunes and a Valentina is a fair comparison because they fought during each other's prime. They're in the same generation and all of that. And you could say Amanda is over Ronda because Ronda was still technically in her prime when she got her ass beat. And at the same time, as a trailblazer, you can't compare what Ronda did just to get women's MMA out there and how she was dominating to then Amanda coming up. Because Amanda was probably looking at Ronda as at least a form of MMA. I'm not saying Ronda got Amanda into MMA, but there was obviously some inspiration there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Ronda's a GOAT, but she is a pioneer. Yeah. And there's a difference.
Yeah. So respect. Anything else, like end of the year stuff, like content wise, fight news? I didn't get to stuff coming up.
Not really. I mean, there's a few jiu-jitsu tournaments coming up, but not a whole lot. Like, there's a Sub-Spectrum tournament in February. Like, I don't know. I might consider it, but I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah.
We got the ADCC Open in March, but...
Yep. And Phoenix.
Not a whole lot on my radar.
Well, hey, enlightened ones, like we said, whatever your journey, respect to that, and not pushing you to compete and pushing you to challenge yourself and whatever that looks like. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. You're not going to learn if you continuously stay in the same kind of patterns and loop, and you got to break that loop. So maybe look at, if you've been interested in competitions, there's certain things, that are happening for you where you feel maybe stagnant. You got to take that accountability and ownership and kind of put the work in where you feel like you need to put the work in. Because things aren't just going to happen overnight, and they're not just going to happen if you just kind of sit there on your thumbs and twiddle around. You got to make some movement. You got to do what you need to do and challenge yourself to get yourself out of your comfort zone. So whether that's competing for the first time, maybe getting back into competition, maybe being a little more intentional in your training and also outside of training, again, to push yourself outside your limits, this is the time to start doing that.
Yep. Yeah. There was going to be, or there might have been a Queen of the Mats today, but I think only 2 girls signed up. But for
Famous.
the next one, I want to get a
Yeah.
squad to go up there and
That'd be
compete.
nice. Let's say like this time of the year, end of the year, holidays is not a great time.
Mm-mm. No. But in a few months from now, we should try to hit that up
Queen of
and
the Mat, 2026, happening. So,
nice.
ladies, think about it.
Either.
Yeah. Okay, enlightened ones, let's get to our last 2025 topic of the week, breaking the loop. Year of the snake. So what did that involve? The year of the snake, contraction, insight, shedding, and inner alchemy. And we're moving into the year of the horse, which involves movement, freedom, expression, and moving towards your truth. Remember what I said? Your truth could be who I was always meant to be. Now, if I'm stuck in a rut, I'm gonna hit you where it hurts. You were meant to be stuck in that rut. Yeah. You sit there, I don't know why this keeps happening to me, and you keep doing the same shit. That's what you were meant to be doing the same shit.
Dang, but do you think people are actually meant to be in that spot, or they're just stuck?
Yeah, they are meant to be in that spot. You're meant to be exactly where you're at. So if you're stuck because you're meant to be there.
Hmm.
So what are you doing to acquire more knowledge so then you can move forward? So right of like what happens between knowing and living? That's the difference between the snake and the horse. So if you think about it, I think this was maybe it was either in the Becoming What You Are book that I was listening to, or this new, or not new, but the book I've been listening to of Bruce Lee, The Striking Thoughts. I got this concept from there, but it's the same thing. So it's kind of like when you're acquiring knowledge, that's literally what you're doing. You're acquiring, you're gathering, you're energizing self. Now, once I actually know, that's when I'm doing. When you know, you do, right? When you know, you're living. When you know, that's where the energy goes. But when I'm acquiring knowledge, that's exactly what I'm doing. And acquiring knowledge requires me to be still.
Mm-hmm.
For you, again, we could call back.
I know.
For you're like, oh, it's always right. You were forced into that stillness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about my half guard right now. Like I'm acquiring knowledge, but I'm not doing yet.
Because you don't know.
My body doesn't know yet.
Exactly. But once you've acquired the knowledge to start knowing, you're going to be moving in that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And this requires patience, right? The insight. The shedding. And if you think about, again, when a snake is shedding, it's not necessarily, I'm not a veterinarian or a snake expert, but I don't think I've read that that's a painful experience for a snake. I don't know if it's satisfying, but I don't think it's a painful thing. It's a necessary progression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta shed that skin so you can grow more.
Yeah. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
The snake doesn't rush its shed. It doesn't all of a sudden be like, you know what? Today's a good day for me to shed this skin.
I mean, they might know when the day comes. Like, oh, I'll shed tomorrow.
Well, they feel it, right? It's coming, but they don't just like, they're not just slithering around, beast mode and stuff, and then being like, you know what? It's been like a couple weeks. I'm gonna go ahead and get this shed out early. I don't think a snake could just generate that. I don't know. Whoever's a snake expert out there, tell me about it. But
I know we know nothing about snakes, but we do know they shed. That's what matters.
People shed too. I mean, think about it. And I always try to have to like remind my people and remind myself too, when people want to reflect, to be like, oh, I made a bad choice 10 years ago or a year ago or whatever, or this is the decision I made. Like we said, you're always making decisions. Even in indecision, you're still making a decision. And you also have to know, I knew what I knew then, and I know what I know now. So based upon what I knew when I knew then, I made decisions based upon what I knew back then. Throughout, I didn't have a year's worth or 10 years worth of additional living, right, and knowledge to make said different decision. So me judging and criticizing myself for decisions or things that I did a year ago or, prior is just unfair.
Mm-hmm. Dang. That'd be rough if you're going back a year ago, thinking about something that you did a year ago.
I
Oh,
mean, people do, right? People do,
yeah.
but you still also need to reflect. You still also need to reflect. Like, shout out to my mom. She has her different way of processing, and she's hilarious in like the way that she's starting to come into her own self-awareness. Now she's older in her age, and I was like, you're right, Mom. Like on Christmas, she was sitting there. We were having ourselves a time at my grandma's house, chilling, vibing, safetying it up,
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like, sometimes you just got to revisit shit when you're younger. You know what I'm saying? You just got to revisit shit and figure out, why did I make the decision about some shit when I was doing it? What was I on back then? And absolutely right. And that was not a why did I do this? You dumb, and you're just stupid. You made the wrong decision. But curiosity. Why did I do this shit back then? What was I on? What was happening in my life at the time, or what I knew back then versus what I've acquired since then.
Mm-hmm.
That led me, right, to maybe perpetuate cycles I didn't realize I was continuing to perpetuate, and maybe ways that I've continued to stunt my growth because I've been in those, in that lack of awareness.
Yeah, she's right.
Right on the money. She's right. And line ones, where are you at? What has that looked like for you? In particular this year. I know some of you have been like, dang, like I've been going through it this year, whether maybe you got a new job, whether, you really hit a point in your job or whatever, your career, where you're like, F this damn job, or F this, I'm not doing this at this time next year. That's where I'm at. That is over, right? I'm moving, whatever this looks like. This time, 2026, December, I'm not going to be where I'm at. This time, December 2026, you're going to have a half guard.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Unless, I don't know, unless something crazy happens.
Exactly. But you just put the work in, it's impossible to be in the same spot that you're at when you decide to move. But it's also possible to continue being in the same spot that you're at once you've acquired said knowledge, and you decide, if you know better or you know differently, and you decide not to do differently or do better. That's what I mean when I'm talking about that was what you were meant to be then.
Yeah, do you think I mean, I know jujitsu helps us like realize the growth that we have made or we haven't made, but we're probably more better off doing jujitsu and having that than people that don't do it.
Yeah.
Like people that don't do it don't have that to compare to. Like, oh, I've been training this and now I can do this, or I'm way better now than I was a year ago. But I guess you can do that with other things, but I think jujitsu really helps us in that way to see our progress.
I would 1000% agree. When I was talking with shout out Dan, when I think I was talking to Dan last week or maybe the week before, and he was just kind of talking about, like, we have plateaus, we have growth, the ebbs and flows and plateaus at every belt, at every stage. And he was like, there's that plateau. We were talking about purple. There's that plateau. You got that. I'm doing really well. And then it's like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not. Do I know anything? Because then like somebody else, like you might in competition, you might in the gym, somebody's at your same level, but they're not. And so there's like the breakthrough or a wall that they've now gone through, and you're still kind of like over here. And so it feels like a plateau, and it maybe is, but again, mentally and emotionally, I think that like when we go back to, this is what I've majorly appreciated. And again, no shade, everybody can do whatever that looked like for you. It's just like one of the things I really appreciate about athletics and growing up with athletics is the discipline and like just doing it, right? Of like, you get disappointed, like you try and like you got to just keep showing up. And it's the same thing with jits. You have your plateaus, and I think we've noticed that with different folks, different generation, different handful of people in jiu-jitsu, they really struggle like with the, I think like at white belt and blue belt and even maybe a pinch of purple belt, you like really struggle with those plateaus. And then majorly at white belt and blue belt, that's why you lose a lot of people at blue belt. Mm-hmm. Because they struggle to deal with the plateaus. Like, yeah, you know more, right? But you still might be getting beasted by some white belts. You might be getting beasted by the same, but you, again, just stay the course. Again, you're on your own journey. It's not about the wins or whatever. That feels great, but that's not what it's on. So if you can stay the course and stay disciplined, once you feel like you kind of transition into purple, you start like accepting the it's not fun, right? But you start accepting the plateau a little more because you understand it's part of the process. So you're more likely, when you're in purple, you're more, your chances or the probability of you getting your black belt, not just obviously going to your brown, but getting your black belt exponentially goes up once you get to purple belt because you've gone through the trenches of those plateaus, understanding that you're still going to be going through those at purple, brown, and black.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, I feel that at purple. But I understand, like, oh, after a plateau comes like usually a little spike. Usually there's growth after a plateau. So that's why when I'm usually annoyed, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm not learning anything, or I feel like I don't know anything. I'm like, growth is coming after this. I just got to get through this.
Exactly. And that's what kind of like, as an upper belt and like then being in this for like, damn, almost 10 years at this point. Like it does make my little heart a little sad when I see like the young bucks come in and you could kind of see their frustration of like their plateauing or things getting the best of them. And that's where you they don't hit that next, just keep showing up. And then they naturally just kind of like transition out. They stop coming one a day, the week, the next month. And then at that point, right, then you're kind of, once you come back in, if you haven't dealt with accepting the plateau, well, then you come in, you almost felt like you regressed because now you're trying to get back to where you were before you stopped. And then eventually you're like, this isn't for me. And I'm like, just stay in it.
Yeah, dang. Too bad you can't just give them that info then and there.
I know. So, I don't know. That's the saying. And like, you gotta, what happens? What's that gap? This is what this year has been. Not forcing change, but allowing the natural motion of shedding an action to occur. Just like we said, but that happens with snakes. They let that natural thing occur. And so tying that in, we break the loop, right? And not spoiling it, but we told you, right? It's Stranger Things, season things. I decided to pose an interesting question, a good old chat GPT. Sorry, contributing to the AI data out here. I'm out. Sorry, I'm one of those. I am one of those. Not all the time, but I do some interesting stuff. But when you think about Stranger Things, those who are fans, and this isn't a spoiler, but we'll say like Vecna, who's one of the main villains. The premise of Stranger Things, we have the upside down world and we have our reality world. What happens in the upside down world, as we know, time gets a little, right, strained. Time stops or kind of slows down. What happens in the upside down world or in reality happens in both. The villain tends to thrive on people who struggle with getting out of their own loop, who are in their shame and guilt loop, right? Vecna, the villain, he feeds off of people living in that shame and guilt loop, whatever it looked like.
Dang, what if there's a real upside down and that's really happening? Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So, if you're a Stranger Things fan, but even if you haven't watched it, this isn't spoiling it. But those who know will understand what we're talking about when we're talking about, right? And for those who either got out of Vecna's grasp, or was able to defeat Vecna, I'm putting that in quotes, you know, it wasn't a euphoric transition. It wasn't a euphoric outcome, right? It was a painful shed almost. It was like a natural shed, but theirs was painful. But because they had to revisit and really reconcile with where their core of their shame and guilt came from, they had to face it. And not only did they had to face it, the things that also got them out of said loop was connection, right? Because Vecna thrived on alienation, isolation, not being tapped in. Remember one of the significant characters, what pulled her out of Vecna's almost ready to kill her grasp? Music.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about, right? And not soulless music. Music had to speak. It wasn't just any old like song they could put on for that character. It wasn't just any old tape or whatever. It was a specific song, a specific artist that spoke to her.
Soul.
And that pulled her out of the loop. The loop that was Vecna feeding off of her alienation, isolation. I don't need people, but we do need people. So think about what this means for you. What loops have I been stuck in? In what ways have I been disconnected? In what ways do I need to connect more? What do I need to face that I'm really been reluctant to face? Again, keep it surface level, but another growth. We've been using Michaela this whole time. Michaela's half guard game. You know, you had to revisit the core of that painful, I don't want to do this.
I know. It just had to hit me in tournament for me to be like, all right, it's time.
Damn. All right. So then you just have to revisit that. So I want you all to be thinking about this. What is my year of the snake meant for me? And what do I want my year of the horse to look like in order to break the loop? Now, even more getting into the characteristics of this more specifically, according to Chinese New Year, year of the horse. Horse is the 7th animal in the 12th year cycle of the Chinese zodiac, coming after the snake, but before the goat. So that's going to be...
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So, as far as according to the Chinese astrology, horse is confident, agreeable, and responsible, although they also tend to dislike being reined in by others. You want to be controlled, right? Mm-hmm. They're fit and intelligent, adoring physical and mental exertion. They're decisive, but also easily swayed and impatient. Chinese zodiac years for horse. The Chinese zodiac, like many aspects of traditional Chinese culture, the horse experiences highs and lows in love, work, and health. Breakthroughs are possible through persistence, while balanced self-care and steady finances ensure long-term success. Horses are leaders who rarely accept defeat so they can motivate themselves to put an active fight in everything they do. This can come off as tenacity, endurance, stubbornness, or even full-heartedness in certain situations. Once horse matures, learns to harness the energy, they'll be unstoppable, and they're agile and shrewd thinkers who innately understand human nature. They'll also be principled so that their efforts will be put towards a good cause. Horses' strengths. Horse people possess many talents and strengths. They're enthusiastic and candid, appearing as heroes to many when they decide to take up a good cause and to do battle on behalf of the underprivileged with passion. They are widely liked for their natural sociability and openness, as well as their courage and passion, which when coupled with their eloquence and moral uprightness makes horse exceptional leaders in social advocates at work, and popular in love. Weakness. Horses have a tendency to give up halfway through when their quick passion runs out of steam. Not their fear of failure, but they can get bored easily, which applies to work and love. Remember this, enlightened ones. We said the year of the horse about movement, breaking the cycle, but you have to be persistent and resilient to get through the plateaus to maintain said energy and endurance.
Have you seen Spirit, the horse movie?
I actually haven't seen that.
That's a good one.
I should watch that for 2026.
Yeah, I like it. It was one of my favorites when I was a little kid, but it's just a journey about a horse, and it has to be persistent to break free from the bad people.
Got to be persistent. You got to. The energy might look different. Like we go back to our track days. I wasn't a runner, but Michaela was. You ran the 400. Yeah. Now you running one of the worst
I know.
painful races of track and field. What we know about people that run the 400 is just the strategy of running a 400. You can't all out sprint a whole 400, right? There's strides and there's a strategy to running the first curve to the first 100 curve to then going out to the last 200, that first straightaway. And then there's, that third or the second curve you come around again. There's a strategy of your strides. And then there's a way for you to, again, finish it out for the last 100 of the straight. You can't just beast mode like you'd run 100, a 400.
Yeah, no, I'm getting flashbacks now just thinking about it. Because I visualized that race so many times. It's like speed, stride. And then just keep going.
And then you're like, I don't want to keep going, but you keep your arms going.
Yeah.
Keep swinging.
Yeah. I wasn't the best at that race, but I tried.
No matter, but you did it, right? So, but that's the same thing of going into this year. Really want to emphasize this for you all. For all of our listeners out there, if you want to be an enlightened one, this is what it takes. Okay? Persistence. What's my 400 looking like as I get into 2026? Where am I sprinting? Am I sprinting the first quarter of the year? And then, okay, stride out. Stride out, maintain. Okay, sprint, maybe for a month or two. Okay, stride out for a week or two. But you got to maintain it. Don't just stop on the track. You're not going to break the loop if you don't.
Yeah, dang, I need to pace myself for the year.
See?
Because my 400, I'll just go as fast as I can and then stride. And then the last 100, I'd be struggling. I'm like, I got nothing left. Everyone's passing me. I'm going as fast as I can go. But nah, I got to pace myself so that way I got gas the whole 400.
Yep, exactly. So, with that said, if we're breaking the loop and pacing, there's going to be gates. So, enlightened ones, need you to get anchored for our end of the 2025 year, our last Zen talk of the year. Let's transition into it.
All right, let's get Zen. Oops.
I mean, hey, I like it. We're here, natural. Just ride it out. Ride it out. Now that you're grounded, you're reflecting, you're thinking about all of the different things that you've gone through this year, what's been painful, what's been unpleasant, maybe what has been kind of pleasant, what have you shed, and what loops have I been stuck in that I'm no longer willing to accept. So as we get into Zen Talk, ending out this 2025 and going into 2026, the loop and the gate. Awareness without attachment will break your loop and opens up the gate. Don't be attached. Be aware, because things are ever changing. Think about Bruce Lee's Just Like Water, or Be Water, having to adapt. The water stream is not going to stay in said shape and stream. If things get more narrow, it gets wider, the depth changes, the amount of water, the water shape and whatnot adapts to that. It's not attached to the path. It is aware, in essence, right, of having to adapt to the shape and change the way it flows just based off of where it's at in the terrain and everything that goes into it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't read that.
It's like, bam, got you. If I tie this into jujitsu, you know, we all have a game. We all have favorite things we like to do. And some stuff we just can't be attached to. Even if I've been training this, you know, like learning, like you talked about in competition, I can't be attached just to this one takedown. I got to be aware if that's not working, I got to, you know, switch courses. I can't be attached, right? Obviously my strength, I love playing a half guard, butterfly. If I'm in a guard, obviously preferably being on top. And if I get placed somewhere else or we just happen to end up somewhere else, I can't be so full, like just attached and married to half guard. I have to be aware to switch things up and be flexible and just do that.
Yeah. Gotta flow. I find that flow.
Find your flow. And how do you find your flow and increase your awareness? What are you actually paying attention to? I've been trying to meditate more. I've definitely have been increasing that. Broke my streak, but we're still doing well.
No. Were you like at 200?
No. I was just getting a 2 weeks straight. I'm on like 300 and some minutes of like overall meditating. But I was like consistent like every day for almost 2 weeks and then I broke it there, but we're still in it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of helped me be a little less attached where I'm like, Heather T is making me feel irritable in this therapy session right now. But in actuality, it's not for her. I'm just sitting with this. Let me be aware versus attached to.
Yeah. You gotta open up doors.
I gotta open up the gate, you know? So meditation has helped me become more aware, right? And being able to sit in what's uncomfortable. You know, log out, take a walk, put your phone down, disconnect from technology for a minute and just sit with yourself.
Yeah, I need to be doing that because technology's been making me mad.
See?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need to start meditating too. I've never been consistent with that, so
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? The horse is not reckless. It's responsive. You know? You can have a wild horse, a fire horse out here, and I would still argue that horse is not reckless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really want you to watch Spirit.
I definitely will. I'll check it out.
All right, sweet.
Freedom happens through experience. In order to have awareness, in order to feel more at ease, free, I need to have more experience. Said Michaela had more experience when she went to New York. That opened up, right? It opened up a gate for you to want to either get back to the East Coast in some way, opened up an art gate for you in terms of I want to move past being a blue belt in the art world and whatnot. And that was through experience.
Yeah. No, I like that because you don't know what you don't know. And you have to have experiences to understand, like, oh, I could be interested in other things. Like, there's more out there, but you don't know unless you go and find out.
Facts.
And, like, doing different new things does feel free, and that's kind of awesome.
Test yourself. Just get out there, everybody. Experience some things if you can. It doesn't have to be like you have to go out and spend your money and stuff like that. But what does it look like? Talk to somebody new. Try something new. Whatever that looks like.
Yeah, just get out of your comfort zone. Yeah, I tell my little brother to do something cool every time I see him. Like, you need to try something new. And I told him that during Thanksgiving, and he told me yesterday, he was like, when you told me to do something cool, I never did. So,
Dang.
just breaking that loop and finding something that you enjoy, finding new things that
Mm-hmm.
you like to do. He's only 16, so he has time to figure it out. But
Yeah.
like,
But
little
yeah,
bro, do something fun.
exactly. You gotta start somewhere. Just deviate from your norm. Last but not least, for the last point of Zen, reconnect with yourself. What does that mean for you? In what ways are you disconnected from yourself? How do I reconnect? How am I aware of self? What does that look like? That's not for me to get into with you, but to plant the seed.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I gotta do some thinking. Like, how can I reconnect, or how can I connect better?
Yes.
Because I don't
You
feel
mean,
disconnected, but
no, sometimes like a car battery. Sometimes the battery is just not dead. You just got to brush off the connectors, right? Get some of that corrosion off so it can actually get a better connection.
yeah, I'm not a mechanic. But yeah, brush it off.
See? Yes.
Yeah, I'll start meditating. That's what I'll start doing.
I'm going to check in, see where you're at.
Dang. All right.
Where are we at this week? I am.
Hold me accountable.
I am. So get it started. I'll even send you a 30-day to try Headspace. Get
I
you
know.
started.
You've done that before.
I did. I'll do it again. Do it again. So, with that said, is there anything else before we get to this last 2025 quote and end our 2025 last episode?
I don't think so. I just still think it's crazy we're ending the year. It doesn't feel real.
Wild. Wildness out here. All right. Enlightened ones, what do we have for our end of the year quote? We have, you have to keep shedding old skin in order to be reborn as something else. Simon Amstel.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I'm going to say it one more time. You have to keep shedding old skin in order to be reborn as something else. Simon Amstel. So, exfoliate. Can't just leave the dead skin out here. You can't just be putting soap on and then just letting it run down. You got to exfoliate. Get the dead skin off of you so the new cells can be reborn, replenish, and flourish.
Yeah, shed that skin. And then be
Yes.
ready for Year of the Horse.
Here we go. Like I said, we're going to be riding out the end of this year of the snake until we get to mid-February, but just start the mindset and the concept for the year of the horse when we get into January 1st. So, Happy New Year to all the enlightened ones, whatever. Be safe out there, whatever you got going on this week. Hopefully, it goes well for you. I know we have New Year's in the middle of the week this week, but set some intentions, break some loops, open some new gates.
Yeah, open the doors.
That's right.
And be like a horse.
Be like a horse. Well, with that said, it's been a 2025. We will see you in 2026. Again, this is Deja.
This is Michaela.
And we out. See you next year.